Hello, this is Jim McGrath from Truenorth Technologies, and in today's video we're going to talk about how to mass update records in Salesforce using a list view and a Screenflow. Here's the use case our customer gave to us. So this customer is running a subscription-based revenue model. For their premium subscribers, they utilize a high-touch outreach model, which means they're going to call the premium subscribers when it's time to renew. The customer needs the ability to select which subscriptions to include in a given renewal process. And the customer does utilize an automated dialing solution, which is fed from the contact records in Salesforce. So in this customer's org, there's a custom object called subscriptions. And this list view, all renewals next 60 days, is what the customer will use to select contacts to go through the high touch renewal process. So this window will give the user the ability to select which subscribers are going to be renewed in a given campaign. So let's take a look at the contact record. So on the contact, there's a campaign section. There's two fields, call campaign status. These are the fields that are used by their automated dialing solution to determine if they should pull this contact into the campaign. So our list view is going to, and our flow is going to update these two fields on the contact. So here's the solution we're going to build to meet the customer's requirements. We're going to create a list view to display the candidate subscriptions. And as you've seen, that list view is already created. We're going to create a screen flow that will allow the user to select which subscriptions, therefore which contacts to update. And then there will be a list view button created to invoke the screen flow. So here's a list of the variables we're going to need to create in the flow. The first one is a very special one. It's called IDs, IDS, small case, and it's a variable that's going to be passed to the flow from the list view, and it will contain the ID of all of the subscription records that were selected. Very important one. We're going to have two choice set variables, variable call campaign status, to just represent the pick list values from the contact. We'll have a single contact record for building our contact to be updated, and then a collection of contacts called var contacts to store all of our contacts before we run our mass update. Okay, so we're here in the flow builder, and we're going to create some more resources here. So the first thing we're going to do is create our IDS variable, and the name does have to be IDS small case. That's a special variable that's passed values from the list view itself. So put a description in here that makes sense to you, and the data type on this will be text. And we are going to allow multiple occurrences, and it needs to be available for input because it's being set outside of this flow. Okay, so IDs is created. Let's create another variable for our pick list. So we already have one for the call campaign. We're going to create a pick list choice set for the call campaign status, and I like to put the word var in front of my variables and a name in camel case that makes sense. And then this will be a pick list choice set for this pick list on the contact record. And we go ahead and hit done on this one. And we now have our two choice set variables. And now we need to create our variables for our contact records. So we're going to go up, click new resource, and we're going to create a variable. So select variable in the list here. Our name is going to be var contact because it's going to store a single contact record. Put a little description in there to help you remember what this is. And then the type will be record. And the object will be contact. And then we are not going to allow multiples on this. This is for a single contact record. So this looks good, and we'll hit done. So one more record, or one more variable to create, that will be the collection to hold our contact records that we're going to update. So we'll do another variable, and the name of this will be var contacts, plural. And this is going to be a record. And this time we'll pick contact, but this time we're going to indicate that this is going to be a collection. So we want to click that, allow multiple copies, and hit done. Okay, so we've got our variables done. Let's move on to the screen itself, and let's put the fields on there that we need. So I have a field already on here for call campaign, so that's the pick list that's looking at the choice set for that pick list. We're going to add another one. Actually, we're going to add a section first because I like it when the pick list field doesn't span the whole width of the screen. So a section allows us to define columns, so a 2-column section, and I'm going to put the second pick list call campaign status just under the first one. So we'll drop that in, and then we need to give it a name, and we'll give it the API name will default. That's fine. And then we want to specify which choice set to use. So it'll be the one for call campaign status, and that looks good. Click on done. So there's our screen. So we're going to set the values we want for all the subscription records selected, and then set those values on the adjoining contact record. Okay, so back to the flow builder. So the next thing we need to do is retrieve the subscription records that were selected. So we're going to grab a get records component and put that on our builder right underneath the screen, and give this a name. This will be get subscriptions. And we want to grab the subscription custom object, which in this org, there's quite a few objects that have the word subscription. So we get this long list, and we're looking for subscription __ C, which is right down here at the bottom of the list. We'll grab that. So now we want to set our criteria. So we're going to want all of the subscriptions that were selected in the list view. So we're going to use the IDs variable here. So we're going to want to select the records where the ID of the subscription is in the IDs variable. Okay, so that IDs variable is a list of IDs. We want the full subscription record for every ID that matches that list from the IDs variable. Okay, that's what this is doing. Okay, so we've got our criteria set. Now let's go and fill this out a little bit more. So we want all the records. We don't want just one. We want all. So make sure you click that. And then automatically grab all the fields. There's not that many fields on this particular object, so I don't feel the need to override that. So we'll just grab all of the fields on the subscription record, and that looks good. Okay, so we've got our subscription records. The next thing we want to put on our flow is a loop. So we're going to loop through all of the subscription records that we just grabbed up in the get subscriptions component. So this will be a iteration over that list. We want to grab the records from get subscriptions. So we're going to choose that as the input into this loop. And it doesn't really matter with the sort order on this. We can just go with the default, and it'll be just fine. Okay, so now that we've got our loop construct set up, we need to specify what we're going to do with each of these records. Okay, so in our loop, we're going to want to build each of our contact records. So we're going to put an assignment component on the loop construct. It's going to be called set contact values. We're going to grab our single instance of a variable for a contact of our care, and we're looking for the ID. So we're going to set the ID of our contact record to be the ID of the contact from the subscription record, which is the current record that's in the loop. So we're saying take the current record you're on, grab the contact ID, and put it in my variable in the contact ID field. All right, then we're going to add in our call campaign. So that's the other field on the contact we want to set. So again, we'll grab our single instance variable, and we're going to say we want to set the call campaign picklist value with the value that was chosen in the screen. So we're going to reference our screen component, and we're going to grab the call campaign field. So whatever the user selected for call campaign is now going to be stored in the call campaign field on our single variable, and we'll do the same thing for call campaign status. We're going to grab that field, And we're going to say we want that to be the value that was selected on the screen component. So we'll open up the screen component and grab the call campaign status field. And now we've linked everything up that we need to. So this var contact variable has an ID, a call campaign, and a call campaign status value. And that's everything that we want to use in our update of the context. So that's all looking good. Now that we have our contact record created the way we need it, we need to store it now in our collection. So within the loop, we still need another assignment. And this assignment is going to be to put the var contact value into our collection, which is a collection of contact records. So we're going to pick our var contacts variable, right, which is holding multiple contacts, and we're going to want to add that and then pick our var contact, our single instance of a contact record. So as we go through the loop, we're going to create a contact record, add the ID, the call campaign status, and then store that contact in the collection as the last step of our loop. And the reason we do that is because you do not ever do database saves or references within a loop. Okay? Okay, so one last thing to do before we finish up our Screenflow, and that's to save our contact updates back to the database. So we're going to do an update records, give it a thoughtful name, and we're going to select our var contacts collection variable, because that's where all of our contact records are. So basically what we're saying is take this set of contacts that we've just created updates for and apply that to the database. And that's it. We're good. We're going to hit save and activate and go test our flow. Okay, one last thing we need to do, and that's create our list view button. So we're going to go to the object manager, and we're going to open up our subscription custom object. And within there, we're going to click on our buttons, links, and actions. And I've created this button already, but I want to walk you through how I set it up. So there's my button, subscription renewal. Going to open that up and I'll open it up for edit. So the name of this button is subscription renewal. That's what's going to show on the button. It is a list button, so make sure that you check that box, and then display checkboxes needs to be on so that you allow your user to select records. And our URL, since it's referencing a flow, it'll be a /flow/subscription renewal, which is the name of our flow. That's the API name. So whatever you name your Screenflow, you put it in there. Question mark RET URL, basically that stands for return URL, and it equals, in my case, A00. That is the 3-character prefix of my subscriptions object. So I'm going to put that in there, and then the /o. So basically that says when the user invokes this Screenflow and it's done, it will bring them back to this page, the tab page for, in this case, subscriptions. So the last thing to do is to put our newly created button on the list view layout. So go to that, enter edit, and then you'll grab subscription renewal and add it to the selected button side, and then click on save. And we're done. Everything's wired up, so let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm back on my subscriptions tab. I've got my subscription renewal button here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my subscriptions to renew. I'll pick all the Premier services ones. And I've selected them, and now I'm going to click on the button to invoke my Screenflow. My Screenflow is going to pop up here and ask me what call campaign status do you want. So I'll set those values. Click on next, and now the flow will run. It's grabbed that list, it's gone to those contact records, and it's made those changes. So let's go peek at one of them. And then you can see here, call campaign was set to subscription renewal, and call campaign status was set to first call ready. So that's it for the demo today. I hope you found this instructive and you see some uses for this pattern in your own Salesforce org. If you are looking for help or assistance with Salesforce, please reach out to Truenorth. We love to help our customers get great value out of their Salesforce investment. This is Jim McGrath. Have a good day.